At 18 years old, I had about $5,000 to my name, which comprised mostly of money that I had saved up from working at an Italian ice shop in high school. Flash forward 4 years, and several months ago, on my 22nd birthday, I had over $500,000 to my name. So today I want to give you the backstory on how I saved my first $500,000 by 22, but more importantly, share with you 5 strategies that you can implement in your life immediately to save some serious cash yourself. All right, let's jump right into it. What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So I want to be very clear from the start that by no means am I making this video to brag, and truthfully, a majority of the wealth that I have been able to accrue, at least over the past several years, is all thanks to all of your support on this YouTube channel. I've made a ton of videos before breaking down all of the different income streams for this channel, so if you are curious about all of that and my journey, then I will link to those videos down in the description below. However, instead of repeating the same story that I've told many times before, instead I want to share with you 5 lessons and strategies that I've used along the way to significantly increase the pace at which I've been able to grow my net worth. And whether you're starting with $5 in your pocket, $1 million, or you have a mountain of debt, these 5 strategies can and will apply to pretty much everyone. So the first lesson that I definitely learned the hard way is that you need to learn how to budget effectively. The reason I say budget effectively is because for the longest time I had a budget and I felt like that was good enough because I knew how much money was coming in and how much money was going out, but by no means was that an effective budget. As my income started to increase significantly in the past few years, I 100% fell victim to what's often referred to as lifestyle inflation, where I started to spend a lot more money as a result of my higher income. But I was also spending a little money here and a little money there, and over a long period of time, that really started to add up. In fact, I actually made this pretty dramatic video where I explain how I had a pretty severe spending problem for a while, up until recently at least, but I'm happy to report that I have definitely turned that ship around, and I'm basically frugal to a fault because I really spend money on nothing at this point. So regardless of whether you use a modern budgeting platform, an old school spreadsheet, or you just write it down on a napkin, at the very least you want to know how much money is coming in and how much is going out, but in my opinion, that's not really enough. You really need to analyze your expenses specifically and truly understand where you were able to cut back, if anywhere. For me, for example, it wasn't until I took a really deep dive into my spending that I realized that I was literally spending thousands of dollars on going out to eat multiple times per week, which again, isn't that bad if it's a little bit here and a little bit there, but over a long period of time, that really starts to add up once it becomes a habit. The second thing that absolutely helped push me past that $500,000 mark at such a rapid pace would be automating my finances across the board. If you take nothing else from this video, just remember, automate, automate, automate. I've reviewed entire platforms that are focused on automating your personal finances, and you all know that I am a huge supporter of these kind of platforms, and that's because this automated strategy is the approach that I have implemented in my own personal finances across the board. Not only are many of my income sources passive and somewhat automated at this point, but my saving is automated, including taking my income and breaking it down into multiple different savings vaults. My investments are completely automated. All of the transfers between accounts are completely automated. And if I were to just drop off the face of the earth at any moment, then I would continue to bring in at least a little bit of money through my passive income sources that would be divvied up how I want it to be used and continue to grow thanks to my automated investments. Personally, I do this mostly because I'm just really lazy, but I'm also a firm believer that automating your finances, whether that be your saving or investing or anything else for that matter, is the best way to stay consistent, which is probably the most important variable when it comes to building long-term wealth. If you take little steps consistently for year after year, you can and likely will build substantial wealth beyond your wildest dreams. But if you're haphazardly stumbling from one bill to the next and your saving is occasionally on or off and you're occasionally investing but sometimes you forget, then it will be incredibly difficult to build that foundation. Plus, again, if you're like me and you're lazy, then automating your finances is definitely the way to go. Again, there's a lot of platforms that are built for specifically automating your finances, but I will mention that Wealthfront is the platform that I use for my automated investing. Now, they are not sponsoring this video, and actually they've never sponsored anything on my channel, but if you do want to check out Wealthfront and get $5,000 of investments managed for completely free, then I will leave a link for that down in the description below. The third strategy that I only recently started implementing in the past year or two is one that is way overstated online and definitely a little bit cliche, but that would be having multiple streams of income. You've probably heard this a million times before, including for myself, so I don't really need to explain this one a whole lot, but if you want to accrue substantial wealth, especially at a rapid pace, then you have got to diversify your income just like you diversify your investments. If I had just stayed complacent with the 1 or 2 streams of income that I had in college, then yeah, I probably would still be fine, but I would be much further behind in terms of reaching my long-term financial goals. Instead, I refuse to become complacent with my streams of income, and I'm always looking for that next stream of income, regardless of how well the last one might be going. That's not to say that you want to try everything at once and get too scatterbrained, but the average millionaire has 7 streams of income, so don't be afraid to try out a new side hustle or pick up some extra hours at work or get started with your investing, because again, those little actions and steps now will compound to large results in the long-term future. The fourth lesson is one that has changed my life more than anything in the past 3 months, and it's really simple, but it's probably saved me like $30,000 this year alone, and that would be pausing before you buy. I get that this one sounds a little bit ridiculous, but if you're anything like me, then you might see an advertisement on Amazon or get an Instagram ad and think that, oh, I definitely need that product, that'll change my life a lot. And sadly, I can definitely say that as my income started to grow, again, I definitely stepped in that trap over and over again and would buy stuff thinking that it was going to be great and I would use it all the time. Then I would end up using it for a week and either just lose interest or realize that it isn't as helpful as I thought it would be. In fact, buying stuff impulsively was a large part of the reason why my spending got out of hand so quickly, and when I had that realization and decided to turn that ship around, I have really implemented the strategy of pausing before I buy something, at least for a few days, if not a week or more, and if I still want that item and feel like I can truly justify that purchase, then only then will I truly start to seriously consider buying it. But again, my spending went from $13,000 in February of this year to under $1,000 in March, so I think I have definitely turned that ship around pretty quickly. And the last lesson, that is another fairly cliche one, but has absolutely not only pushed me across that $500,000 mark, but will definitely help me reach even crazier financial milestones in the future, is getting out of debt and staying out of debt. Now, I'm proud to say that personally, I've never actually had any kind of substantial debt to my name of any kind. I've never paid a dime in interest to any credit card company. I paid for my car outright, and I don't have any other kind of debt or student loans or anything like that to my name. But where this did apply to my life is actually my fiance and the student loans that she took out in order to pay her way through school. Now, I did make an entire video with her explaining exactly how we paid off $60,000 of debt in just a few short months, but as I now prepare to get married in just a few weeks, I am relieved knowing that we will be starting out our marriage with 0 debt, and I plan on keeping it that way for as long as I possibly can. Now, the topic of debt and borrowing money is probably one of the most opinionated topics in the personal finance space, and that's because a lot of people argue that there are good types of debt, while others will say that you want to avoid any kind of debt at all cost. And while that debate is not the topic of today's video, I would say that most of us will probably agree that things like a high-interest car payment or really high-interest credit card debt or student loans should definitely be paid down as fast as possible. And in my mind at least, the only kind of debt that is really acceptable and necessary to take on would be obviously something like a mortgage. But again, that's just my opinion, and I can say from my experience that not having any kind of debt or payments or anything like that has allowed me to stack money to the ceiling, and is truly the reason why I was able to reach that $500,000 mark at such a young age. Again, very opinionated topic, so I'd love to know what you think of that one down in the comment section below. But there you have it. Those are the 5 lessons and principles that I implemented into my life that I truly feel are the reason why I was able to save my first $500,000 in liquid assets by the age of 22. I'd love to know what your savings goals are down in the comment section below and what strategies you are implementing in order to reach those goals. Be sure to check out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description below, many of which will give you some free cash when you sign up if you do want to help support my channel. And of course, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. As always, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.